Hello there! Let's keep your week rolling just right with the right mix of news and conversation. And whether you're catching us online, on TV, or on the radio, hop on, join the chat. I'm Paolo de Rosario.
Hello there, beautiful people. I'm Asis-Carilo. We are simulcast on Mellow 94.7 BFM. Here's your daily dose of deep dives and good vibes. Welcome to Beautiful Day.
All right, so we got a jam-packed show that deals with mental health, making waves, and of course, Design Week. Ang dami nangyayari. Ang dami.
And not just that, we have news items as well for our headlines, and we have lots of things to talk about. But you know what? We have been talking about corruption nonstop since what? Since the president's SONA, right?
Since the SONA lang ba?
Oh,
Baka since...
Even before that, yeah, diba?
Since time immemorial siguro.
Uminit kasi siya since the president's SONA, but that is why we are going to be speaking with a psychologist for health matters today. Psychologist Ronn Avila will be joining us because, you know, as we deal with this flood control scandal, with all these corruption cases, it takes a toll on our mental health as well. Sometimes we don't notice it. Parang akala lang natin, napapanood lang natin sa news, and then we're, you know, a little bit emotional, maybe a little bit upset, pero it takes a toll also sa mental health mo eh.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, we're gonna learn more about siguro the ways that it affects us and the ways that we don't see. And at the same time, how we are coping in general. Because, let's be fair, people are being affected by this. Maraming nagagalit, maraming nagiging emotional. I mean, like, we've seen the rallies, we've seen the people online, and it is an emotional moment. But of course, apart from that, we also have a bit of guest on Weather HQ later, where we're going to be talking about a run happening in Vigan, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to have someone from Fivox come in to talk about Tsunami Run 2025. It's a run for safety, run, race for readiness. Yan yung tagline nila. And we can't wait to hear from them because, alam mo, it's going to make waves.
Meron nga ako naisip na joke, but I'm not sure kung pwede. Wag na lang.
Sabihin mo na para makancel ka. Or...
Wag na nga. Mamaya na lang off-air.
Okay,
but
sige.
anyway, for the hangout later, we will be speaking with someone from the DTI DCP Design Week. That's happening this week, October 11 to 18. Their theme is Towards Ginhawa. That's their theme for this year. So we will be talking about that later on. Wow, we really have a jam-packed show today. And, well, it's a Friday. So might as well, you know, close the week with a bang.
Of course. And it felt like a relatively slow news week until yesterday.
Yeah, until yesterday.
Until yesterday. Yesterday, medyo dumami yung mga pasabog and all of that. Like I did not envy our producers who had to put the show together, help us put the show together, because there's so much to talk about. And we're going to go through that in just a bit. But of course, if you want to join in the conversation, we're on our socials, Ann.
Yes, Facebook and on YouTube. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. We got those comment sections over there. We are simulcast on Mellow 94.7 BFM, and we are also on their Facebook page. So go ahead and get in touch with us if you want to send messages our way. If you want to send shout-outs, we can greet you anywhere in the world, wherever you are watching us from. And also, if you have questions for later, for our psychologist guest, for if you want questions, if you want to ask questions for our Design Week guest later on for the hangout. And maybe for the Tsunami Run as well, baka may mga questions that they want to ask. Where is it happening? How can they register, right? So go ahead and throw that our way. And to all those listening on Mellow 94.7 BFM, thank you for tuning in, and do join us for the next hour and a half. I wanted to segue to the news, but I saw that Miss Pauline is watching on Facebook.
Uy! Miss
Pauline,
hello.
Miss
Thank you for watching us.
Thank you for watching. She's in the U.S. now. Where exactly?
I'm not sure exactly where.
Arizona. There you go. Watching us from Arizona. Hi, Miss
Sa US to, hindi sa Spain. So, hindi siya Arizona. Diba?
Hindi Arizona.
Making sure. Hi, Miss Paul. That joke was for you. Okay.
Let's
normally,
move on.
Yeah, because I don't know kung matraffic sa Arizona.
Let's go check.
Pero baka traffic dito sa Manila.
Meron bang Arizona Cubao or something? Arizona
May New York Cubao.
Street
Wala yata
in the
Arizona.
Philippines.
May Arizona Tea. Dito.
Meron.
Meron
Yeah.
dito, di ba?
Let's check the situation in major roads at this hour, guys. First up, let's take a look at EDSA White Plains. On the left side of your screens, those are the vehicles heading to Shaw Boulevard, already looking very busy at this hour. Moderate to heavy traffic building up on that stretch. Opposite lane, the right side of your screens, those are the vehicles heading to Cubao. No problem yet. Light traffic on that area. Now, here is what's happening along the Quezon Avenue Timog intersection. On the right side are vehicles heading to Quiapo. We're seeing light traffic on that stretch, light to moderate. And the opposite lane are vehicles heading to Quezon Memorial Circle. Moderate traffic also on that area. Now, heads up to motorists. The expanded vehicle number coding scheme is in full swing. It's a Friday, guys. So vehicles with license plates ending in 9 and 0 should be off the road right about now until 10 a.m. and again later from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And what will the weather be like this Friday? Let's go find out from Paolo as he gives us today's forecast from Weather HQ. Take it away, Paolo.
Thank you so much, Anne. Let's take a look at the local weather, where today, as of 2 a.m., the low-pressure area east of southeastern Luzon has strengthened into a tropical depression. It is now given a local name, Ramil. Now, by 5 a.m., Ramil was last spotted about 1,145 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon. Now, packing maximum winds of up to 45 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 55 kilometers per hour. Now, it continues to move west-northwestward slowly. Now, Pag-asa has placed some areas under tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 due to the tropical depression Ramil. Now, these areas include the easternmost portion of Quezon, Camarines Norte, Catanduanes, Camarines Sur, Albay, the northern and eastern sections of Sorsogon, the eastern portion of northern Samar. Now, on its current track, Ramil is expected to move generally westward until tomorrow, then turn west-northwest towards central to southern Luzon. Now, its center may pass close to the Catanduanes area by Saturday morning or afternoon and possibly make landfall over in Aurora or Quezon by Sunday. However, if the track shifts southwards, other areas could also be affected and be placed under wind signals. Now, after landing, Ramil may cross the mountainous areas of northern or central Luzon, then exit to the West Philippine Sea by Sunday afternoon or in the evening, and leave the Philippine Air Responsibility by Monday morning. Now, Ramil is expected to strengthen even further while over the Philippine Sea and could become a tropical storm by early tomorrow. It may even reach severe tropical storm category before landfall. Now, although Ramil is still far from land, its extension or its trough is already affecting the weather over in southern Luzon and the Visayas region. Now, you expect cloudy skies and scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in areas like Catanduanes, Albay, Sorsogon, northern Samar, and eastern Samar. Some rainfall may be moderate to heavy at times, so residents in flood-prone and mountainous areas should be alert for possible flash floods or landslides. Meanwhile, two major wind systems continue to affect the country. The northeasterly surface wind flow over the northern Luzon area, and in the easterlies that we're looking at dominating central and southern Luzon as well as the Visayas region. Now, further north, let's take a look at that first, because the northeasterly wind flow will bring partly cloudy skies with light rains over the Batanes and the Babuyan Islands right over here. Elsewhere across Luzon, particularly over in mainland Cagayan, Isabela, Aurora, and Bulacan, as well as the rest of the Bicol region and Metro Manila, as we take a look first at Basco and Babuyan Islands. As we mentioned, Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Oriental Mindoro, Marinduque, and Romblon. The easterlies will continue to bring cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms, and again, heavy rainfall is possible. So, keep an eye out for the sudden flooding or landslides in low-lying or hilly areas. For the rest of Luzon, you can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rains or thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon or in the evening. Now, across the Visayas region, as we go further down south. You will see that the easterlies will continue to trigger cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Now, some areas may experience brief but intense downpours, so be cautious of localized flooding throughout the area. We go further down south to Mindanao. You can expect here a bit of a better change because generally fair weather for most of the day with partly cloudy to cloudy skies, but localized thunderstorms are still possible later in the afternoon or in the evening. So watch out for all of that. But if you're in this area, do enjoy the weather there for us. Now, let's take a look at our sea conditions because for our fishers and sea travelers, it's a good day because there's no gale warning in effect for today. However, seas are expected to be moderate to rough, so small boats and fishing vessels are advised to take extra caution. Avoid venturing into the open water if possible and always stay updated with the local weather advisories. Now that is it for Weather HQ at the moment, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Pao. Now on to our top stories this morning. Senator Bongo expressed belief that he was being targeted amid the investigation of flood control project scandal. His pronouncement came after the Department of Public Works and Highways and the Office of the Ombudsman said that they are investigating the links between CLTG Builders and the Discayas. CLTG Builders is a firm owned by the family of Senator Bongo. The lawmaker challenged contractors Curly and Sara Discaya to tell the truth. Go maintained that he has no connections with the Discayas. The Solon even said that he is willing to be a complainant against his own family.
Ako mismo ang willing po akong magkaso. Kasuhan natin yung mga dapat kasuhan kahit kamag-anak ko. I'm willing to be the complainant kung talagang meron silang pagkukulang.
Remember, we were talking about this yesterday because I found it really curious when Ombudsman Remulla mentioned on Point with Pinky Webb that he thinks the Discayas are protecting Senator Bongo. And if you'll recall, I don't think because he feels like he's being singled out, but if you'll recall, this was already reported sometime last month, if I remember it right, that there's a conflict of interest because yung family members nga niya, his father and his half-brother, are contractors.
Yes.
But he also said na hindi siya involved in any of their businesses, and also, sabi pa nga niya, mas nakakalapit pa yung family members niya sa mga ibang government officials kesa sa kanya. So I feel like this was bound to be investigated, lalo na ngayon na mas lumalalim yung investigasyon and more names are being revealed. Mas marami pang naiuungkat now.
Well, if you watched the agenda yesterday, especially for those who've seen the banter at the end, nag-usap sina Pinky Willard and si Corina talking about the flood control. Well, rather this particular issue with Senator Bongo. One of the questions that they asked was it a surprise that it was an ally of VP Sara Duterte who was being checked on first, and second, they were bemoaning the fact, which is true for many, na there is no strict legislation enforcing na yung mga relatives mo are allowed to be contractors or allowed to have government contracts, and of course yung bidding processes involve them. So there are specifics to be looked at when it comes to legislation in particular, and also considering what we've seen, that the lines have been drawn already in many aspects of this investigation, yung mga flood control and corruption in general, that it wouldn't be a surprise if certain members of the opposition would also be investigated first. Not necessarily sila lang, pero baka mauna sila.
Yes.
So those are one of the things
So
that
parang
to be
tinignan
considered.
lang tong angle na to. In fact, hindi lang naman si Senator Bongo yung pinapaimbestigahan now, because in an interview also with Ombudsman Remulla, he said that he will also look into the possibility that the Discayas are also protecting former Senator Cynthia Villar, Senator Mark Villar, and they will also investigate yung projects given to the sister of former Senator Bong Revilla. So hindi lang siya. There are also other angles to be looked at by the office of the
there's so many
Ombudsman.
ways to look at it. Do you remember during the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing when Senator Panfilo Lacson actually called out Senator Marcoleta, asking him, why are you protecting the Discayas?
Yes.
Specifically during a moment. So yeah, there are so many ways to look at it. There's so many ways to go approach this particular issue. But at this moment, no one is safe from not being accused of any foul play. Even DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon, because walk the talk, that's the challenge of Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste to DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon. Leviste said that Dizon must be transparent amid the crackdown on anomalous government projects. Now, in a press conference, Neophyte Solon said that some officials of the DPWH are also contractors. Leviste expressed this might be a conflict of interest. Asking Dizon to disclose his team's connection to contractors, DPWH vows a probe into the allegation of Leviste.
Secretary Dizon or members of his team have connections with DPWH contractors. I was told by one source, some in his team are contractors. And yes, this is just what I was told. And I was told by another person that others on his team, even those who are not contractors, have been talking to contractors at may hinihingi.
Again, we are in a era of our political history where it feels like everyone can sling mud at each other. Anyone can allege something on another person. And right now, Representative Leviste, who initially made news in this particular with this particular scandals of the DPWH in particular, when he initially returned money that, or rather, offered as evidence,
offered as bribe,
a bribe.
Actually.
Yeah. I believe he called the police and said, "I'm here to report a crime," which is bribery. And right now, here he is putting under scrutiny DPWH Secretary Dizon.
And DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon was interviewed yesterday, and he said that he will never tolerate this, and he will start investigating. Ang exact words niya is, immediately tanggal yan, makakasuhan ko pa. So he said that none of the USECs that he appointed are contractors, as far as he knows. But now that this report is out, he will investigate further, and he said that he would appreciate it if Congressman Leviste would give him more specific details and, if possible, names.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that develops as well, because it also shows you that even if there's so much scrutiny right now, let's say nakalusot nga to, and Representative Leviste is right, that there are still ways for the culture of corruption to continue despite all this added scrutiny.
Yes, but you also feel hope because there are, a few good people in the government who are really pushing for transparency. Kaya nga, alam mo yung with conviction, sabi ni Secretary Vince Dizon, if only we could show him, doing that interview, na sabi niya, pagka mag-iimbestiga siya on his own, and pag nalaman niya na totoo nga yung this report from Congressman Leviste, siya mismo ang magtatanggal at kakasuhan pa niya because he is really pushing for transparency and accountability, not just in the DPWH but in the entire government na rin as well. So we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, and right now we have something on the executive body as well. Again, walang sinasanto.
Walang sinasanto here. Vice President Sara Duterte says she is confident that she will not have issue on the flood control investigation, saying she never had any projects with the DPWH. However, she says she knows that some will try to implicate her and her father, FPRRD.
Kung aabot ba sa akin, sa tingin ko aabot siya kasi kaalyado kami. Sa tingin ko ililink nila, sa tingin ko susubukan nila na paabutin sa akin dahil sa kaalyado ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, si Senator Bongo. Doon siguro nila gagawan ng kwento yun. Yung part na ako, si PRD, nasa gitna, at si Senator Bongo, nasa kabilang side.
The VP also raised questions on why President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is so sure about the outcome of the investigation.
Sa ganitong ongoing pa yung investigation ko at inquiry ko sobrang magtataka ka bakit confident yung Pangulo na hindi aabot sa Office of the President yung iskandalo at yung korupsyon. So ibig sabihin, siguro alam na niya kung ano yung kalalabasan ng inquiry at ng investigasyon. Kasi wala namang iba sigurong explanation kung bakit napaka-confident mo sa mga mangyayari pa. Wala pa akong nahanap na tao na alam kung ano yung mangyayari bukas.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro quickly clapped back, saying that PBBM himself was the key to bringing the entire flood control scandal to light.
Well, of course, really interesting comments made, and we mentioned it a while ago that the lines have been drawn, and there are factions right now in terms of the corruption scandal, or at least the flood control scandal, that are almost diametrically opposed. And it's not a surprise, I believe, that the comments that we heard are what was mentioned as well. And I think to the point of VP Sara, na she feels na but alam mo na may ano mangyayari, I think there is a general consensus na may mananagot. The question is sino nga lang.
Yes.
Yeah.
At saka makikita natin here kasi as what the president has said, walang sasantuhin. Even he is willing to be investigated.
Yeah. So,
diba? So if they see leads showing that someone in the administration is involved, he is willing to be investigated. So hindi lang to singling out this administration or the past administration. Kasi if you look at the reports, yung corruption didn't just start during the Marcos administration. Meron ding nag-start during the previous administration, and that is why all these angles are being looked at.
And,
it's not singling out one particular administration.
And to be fair, we're not singling out just the previous administration. It's been there for many administrations.
Exactly.
So, to the extent, and of course, what we can address at the moment, I think that has yet to be defined completely. Now we got to move on here because the Mayors for Good Governance movement has established a new anti-corruption hotline and online portal. Citizens can go here to report possible ghost projects and overpriced contracts. Now, its purpose is to provide a safe channel for government employees, contractors, LGUs, and all other citizens to give information and evidence on corruption of government projects. Once a report is submitted, it will be reviewed and verified by M4GG's technical and legal team, and then passed to the ICI for investigation. Again, this feels like a more... This feels like a nice way, a better way for the citizenry to take a more active role in the investigation.
Yes.
A lot of finger pointing.
Parang parang sumbong sa Pangulo website, right? So if you see anything suspicious around your area, suspicious infrastructure project, then you can report it sa sumbong sa Pangulo website or this new report infra hotline.
I wonder nga if one of the complaints would be I remember one of the things that motorists in particular would be annoyed with is that hindi naman sira yung kalsada and then pinapagawa ulit.
Oo, di ba?
Nagpapa-reblocking ulit.
Kaya nga
Oo.
Secretary Vince Dizon said, di ba, pinatigil muna yung mga road reblocking. Kailangan muna niyang inspeksyonin.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious to see what will be the most reported types of projects.
Yeah. I remember
sa
may
infra.
kinikwento ka nga in the Lasal area,
Oh, yeah,
di ba,
sa
na
Lasal.
nag-graduate na yung mga students, hindi pa gawa yung...
Ang tagal ko sa Lasal, 6 years ako sa Lasal, tapos yung kalsada doon, 5 taon na ata ginagawa pa rin, same
Diba?
spot. Oo.
So, it's nice that we have this hotline and also the Sumbong sa Pangulo website para yung mga hindi nakikita ng government officials or maybe si Secretary Vince, tulungan natin siya to spot these suspicious projects.
Natawa ako sa sarili ko because I could only imagine yung mga Lasalians out there and yung mga taga-Binildren saying, oh, I know that street! Oo! So,
i-report mo na!
I don't know.
Report mo
I haven't been to
later.
Lasal in a while, so I don't know kung ganun pa rin.
Okay, sige. Let's move on. The Makabayan Bloc has slammed the plan to live stream the BICAM proceedings of the 2026 national budget. The coalition believes that it is not a real bid for transparency due to pork barrel insertions and over 240 billion unprogrammed funds in the proposed 6.7 trillion pesos in the NEP. President Marcos and House Speaker Boji D agreed that the deliberations for the General Appropriation Bill will be live streamed for the first time. In other news, the Bloomberry Cultural Foundation with Soler Cares is mobilizing urgent relief operations in northern Cebu. The initiative aims to help around 2,000 individuals who have been displaced after the earthquakes. This in coordination with the Philippine Coast Guard civil military operations to support the transport and deployment of the relief goods. Distribution is scheduled today in the following areas: Barangay Busogon in San Remigio, Barangay Lumintak Norte in Medellin, and Barangay Dalingding and Barangay Bateria in Daan Bantayan.
Now, moving on to news in sports, the World Cup dismissed concerns that U.S. President Donald Trump might move matches from cities he does not deem safe. Now, earlier, the Republican president said that he considered moving games from Democratic-controlled San Francisco and Seattle if they don't cooperate with his immigration policy. But the World Cup emphasizes that the planning has been underway for almost 10 years and remains unaffected by political rhetoric. FIFA adds that there is no distraction in terms of preparations, and tickets have been sold for almost a year for the 2026 World Cup. And, I just want to have a quick addition there because I've actually watched football games in Seattle itself.
Okay.
Seattle is one of the biggest towns in the United States when it comes to football, or soccer as they call it there. Weirdo soccer. Football. No, but the thing is that it is one of the biggest football cities in the entire United States. I think they average around 20,000 to 30,000 people who watch the games of the Seattle Sounders in the MLS. And one of the most highest attended. So hopefully politics don't get in the way of the actual cities that celebrate the sport properly. And because I want to watch, to be honest, and Seattle is one of the better places to watch, one of the loudest arenas in general because of its construction. So sana, as a spectacle, some of these cities that are under the political gaze of President Donald Trump won't lose the right and ability to host these World Cups, because I don't believe, personally, knowing a few people in some of these cities, that it is as unsafe as it is portrayed to be.
Parang President Trump is trying to get into all these media.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah.
sports,
For
right?
sure.
But I have a curious question.
Go.
Anong pinagkaiba ng football and soccer?
We don't have enough time in the show. Unang-una, okay, there's American football where they don't really use their feet, pero football yung tawag. Yung kamay, tinatapon yung bola.
Yeah.
Oo,
yes.
at hindi naman bola yung football, di ba? Parang mukha siyang itlog.
Yes.
Di ba? So I don't know why they call it that. No, all joking aside, Americans will get mad. Pero soccer is short for the term association football, which is the long name for football. So association.
So it's basically the same.
It comes from the word association. So soccer. So dyan na yun nanggaling. Oo, it came from England, and it was adopted in America.
Okay.
But when it became popular in America, yung people in England, no, it's football. So ayun. Ako nasa football ako. Dito sa Pilipinas, football tayo ha. Hindi tayo soccer, football tayo dito sa Pilipinas. All right?
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Now it's time for some tea this morning. Okay, here we go with our first cup of tea. Bea Alonzo sparks pregnancy rumors due to her circulating birthday videos and photos. The actress was spotted celebrating her advanced birthday party with her boyfriend, business tycoon Vincent Ko. But eagle-eyed netizens think that is not the real attraction. They noticed her supposed baby bump. There is no confirmation about the rumors, as Bea Alonzo wants to keep her relationship private with the owner of Pure Gold. But do you know what is confirmed and golden, Pao? Today is Bea's 37th birthday. Happy birthday, Bea Alonzo!
Di ba golden is 50 years?
Golden.
37.
37. Wala lang. Golden.
Ano yung
it's
metal?
A golden, it's a golden occasion.
Ano yung metal? There's a metal for every year, diba? So what's the metal for?
Metal ba? Every year? Di ba iba parang
Yeah, wait lang. So, I mean,
paper.
Like,
But anyway,
one
happy
is paper.
birthday, Bea. And the pregnancy rumors, I don't know.
Oo. Well, it says rubidium. Parang malito. But anyway, let's move on. I actually don't know. I'm gonna Google that. Like, kasi if the first year, I think, is paper, diba?
Yeah.
And then there's, I think 5 is wood. or something.
May ganun.
Yeah.
So not all metals.
I don't. Well, you know what? I'll get back to you. Let's go to the next one.
Second cup of tea, but happy birthday, Bea. Hollywood star Chris Hemsworth just released a deeply emotional trailer for his documentary, A Road Trip to Remember. Produced alongside National Geographic, it documents Chris helping his father, Craig, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, by taking him on a road trip filled with memories. The documentary explores how social bonds and connections can help protect brain health and fight dementia. Chris Hemsworth, A Road Trip to Remember premieres on National Geographic this November 23. Oh, this is absolutely nice. Going on a road trip with your parent who has dementia, and going to places where there are so many memories.
Yeah, I mean, like that's also the thing, right? So there are some cases when it comes to dementia na the short-term memory is not quite there, but the long-term is. So if you bring them to places where that really mattered to them in the past,
they can recall.
And
Yes.
I'm sure it's such a great feeling to hear stories from all of that. So now hopefully this touches a lot of people, because I have a feeling it will. This road trip, and Chris Hemsworth doing that, it makes me wonder, saan yung mga kapatid niya? Ba't hindi siya sumama?
Siya lang
Oo,
baka kasama,
si
pero
Liam.
siya lang yung bida.
What's the name of the other Hemsworth?
Liam, oh
Kaya
my
mo yan.
gosh, I forgot.
Oh my
But
gosh.
the other Hemsworth.
No, we need to know his name. Kawawa
Google
naman.
mo.
No, ikaw na lang. You're on your laptop. I'm still Googling yung metals.
Wait,
Oo.
mamaya na lang. But I Googled something. Kanina we were talking about Arizona, how Miss Paul is in Arizona. Hi, Miss Paul. Miss Paul is still watching.
Yeah.
Merong Arizona Street in Quezon City and also in Bulacan.
sa
So there's
Bulacan.
Arizona here in the Philippines. O yun ang ginugal ko talaga,
Oo.
diba? But anyway, coming up next, guys, mental health check muna tayo. Kamusta ka amid the endless news cycle of corruption? Kwentuhan tayo on Health Matters after the break. Psychologist Ronn Avila joins us later, so stay tuned. Beautiful day. We'll be right back. Hi there, welcome back to Beautiful Day. Mental health check. With issues of systemic corruption piling on the news on the daily, how can Filipinos make sense of what is happening? And how do we cope when injustice becomes all too commonplace? Let's talk about that on Health Matters. And we are joined today by Associate Professor Ronn Avila, head of the Psychology Department at Trinity University Asia. Prof. Ron, hello there. Good morning.
Magandang
Beautiful
umaga
day.
sa lahat.
Yes.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. Salamat
thank you very
at
much.
gumising ka ng maaga para to
Yeah.
join us live today.
Sabi ko nga, di ako sanay na gumising ng ganito kaaga.
Oh, really?
10
Akala ko
a.m.
yung
mga klase.
Akala ko yung mga prof
Akala ko
yung
mga prof maaga
maaga
gumising. diba?
Yung mga ibang teachers.
Yung mga
So,
iba. So
high
siguro
school.
yung classes
Oo.
ni Prof. Medyo,
High school.
Oh yeah, high
Afternoon.
school. Pag college kasi di ba, mas free.
Oo,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. That's
mga,
true.
Mga 7 p.m. classes.
Yeah.
Mga ganun. Yeah, I understand.
So, Prof, let's start. According to a Pulse Asia survey, 97% of Filipinos believe that corruption is widespread. Meanwhile, 59% think that corruption has become normal. So, parang naging normalized na or new normal na yung pagiging corrupt ng gobyerno, no? And we see this every day on the news. We talk about this every single day. How does the daily news of systemic and widespread corruption in the government affect Filipinos, especially yung mental health natin, diba?
Okay. So, 10 years ago, nung nag-start yung Facebook and any other social media, na normalize siya, na mainstream siya, sobrang tumaas yung mental health concerns ng mga tao. Like, dahil sa dati joke lang siya na kaka-Facebook mo yan kaya nade-depressed. Diba, nung bata tayo or yung mga nakikinig ngayon lagi sinasabi. Pero, Scientifically now, according sa mga researches, sobrang tumataas yung mental health concerns ng mga tao dahil sa mga nakikita nila online. Which is very concerning dahil majority of us, pagkagising pa lang sa umaga, nakapikit pa yung mata natin, automatically binubuksan na natin yung mga social media accounts natin. And bungad pa lang, as in, nakapikit pa yung isang mata, is nakikita mo na yung mga negative news, negative contents na makikita sa SOCMED. So, lalong-lalo na yung feeling of helplessness sa panahon natin ngayon dahil nasa era tayo ng political turmoil. Sobrang daming corruption na nangyari sa Pilipinas. So, tumataas yung level ng depression. Una. Anxiety ng mga tao because of uncertainties. And merong 3.4 million kasi delay tayo sa statistics noong 2023, 3.4 million yung documented Filipinos with psychological disorders. And now, ngayon 2025, wala pa tayong statistics. Dahil sa depression and anxiety, uncertainty, and lack of trust sa institutions natin, yung pinaka-worst case scenario nito is yung social apathy natin or yung learned helplessness na nawawalan na tayo ng pake sa mga nangyayari sa bansa kasi wala naman talagang resulta. Walang efficacy yung nangyayari. So, sa amin, bilang mga psych, okay lang na nakakaramdam ka and valid na nakakaramdam ka ng emosyon. However, pag nasa point ka na ng indifference or social apathy, yun yung nakakatakot. Kasi people tend to lean with submission, with authoritarianism, pag uncertain yung isang society. So, mas maraming nagkakaroon ng maraming corruption dahil nga uncertain yung society natin, maraming nangyayaring hindi maganda, kakapit na lang ako sa isang tao. Lalong lumalala yung corruption and nagiging cycle siya. So, sobrang laki ng epekto ng corruption sa mental health natin. Hindi lang siya physical, like yung mga bumabiyahe ngayon, nakatayo ngayon sa MRT North EDSA, yung mga magulang na natatraffic na hinatid yung mga anak nila sa school na nahihirapan at pumapasok sa trabaho pero sobrang mahal ng bilihin. Sobrang laki ng effect nito sa mental health nila and sobrang underrated yung konsepto ng economic depression na maraming mga taong nadidepress dahil sa kawalan ng pera, kawalan ng opportunity, kawalan ng trabaho, etc. Hindi masyado na pag-uusapan yun sa mainstream. So, I think dahil din dito, nadadagdagan lalo yung mga nakikita nating contents about corruption, lalong nadadagdagan yung mental health concerns sa mga tao.
Yeah, it's interesting. First of all, I can tell na galit ka sa North EDSA station.
Sobrang haba ng pila doon.
Sobrang haba ng pila doon. I mean, like, totoo naman.
Yeah.
Totoo naman. I'm like, I don't want to make light of it, but then, unfortunately, it's the truth. And a lot of Filipinos tend to use humor as a way to siguro cope, diba? But then, I want to go back to yung survey na yun kasi 90% of Filipinos believe that there was collusion in the flood control scandal. And it goes back to yung point mo kanina that there is a learned helplessness, apathy. Our surveys like this also practically reinforcing kasi grabe yung mga numero. Ito, 90% with the question, there is collusion among executive officials, legislators, and private contractors in the misuse of funds for flood control projects at 90% yung nag-agree. Oo, so is that really validating lahat ng mga sinasabi mo na talagang it really is something that is almost embedded sa psyche ng mga Pilipino.
Yes. Kasi pag tinignan natin sa history, sobrang lalim na nito eh. Systemic na siya eh. Kaya yung mga 90% na yun, they view our government or institution bilang organized crime group na which is sad. Bilang nasa democratic country tayo. And yung learned helplessness na nararanasan natin, nagpatong-patong na yung paghihirap from the last few years. Dahil ang learned helplessness na discover siya noong 1967 ni Martin Seligman dahil sa eksperimento nila dahil sa isang aso na kinukuryente nila paunti-unti.
Okay.
Pero hindi siya namamatay. Paunti-unti ka lang kinukuryente. And after several sessions, hindi na pumalag yung aso.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is natuto niya na wala na to, hindi na makakatakot. Makakatakas dito. This is my whole life. Ito na yun. Nagkaroon na siya ng apathy. So even nakukuryente siya for a very long time, nakaupo lang siya.
Yeah.
And na-realize nila, yung real life parallel example nito is yung mga nasa countries na merong corruption, sobrang lakas ng corruption. So doon na lalabas yung social apathy natin and yung learned helplessness. And kaya nakaugat din to sa pagkakaroon ng political idols ng mga Filipino. Napapansin niyo ba na sobrang taas ng idealization ng mga Filipino when it comes to politics. Kasi manifestation yun ng learned helplessness. Gusto nilang kumapit sa someone ng misaya. So nagkakaroon ng deification yung mga politicians natin dito. So lalo na-stress.
Yeah.
Hindi ko sila masisisi na nararamdaman nila yun. It's the system that hurt them and made them feel or nag-elicit ng negative reaction nila, feelings nila sa buhay nila.
So I want to go and talk about what people could do with regard to mga frustration nila, especially taking care of mental health nila. But before I do that, because you brought up a great point there na talagang yung apathy is quite there. You mentioned yung experiment na yon with the dog, which to be honest, I remembered and blocked from memory hearing about it from in school back in the day. But I want to talk about then yung concept of public trust, because we talk about all these surveys and how yung taong bayan, they are normally surveyed and asked, we trust, how much do you trust this government official? How much do you believe in this government official? And normally, matataas yung mga rating or they're of a certain number na nakakagulat for some people, even considering yung history nila. What does that, I'm trying to put both together because may konting apathy, the assumption of corruption, but at the same time, may malaking public trust factor din.
Kasi ganito yun. Ang mga taong nasa estado ng uncertainty sa buhay nila or hindi nila alam kung ano yung mangyayari or they feel depressed or sad, hindi satisfied yung mga basic needs nila. They're in a state of limbo na kung saan gusto nilang maligtas. So technically, yung mga politicians na nagbibigay sa kanila ng bare minimum is kahit yung perception nila doon is sobrang laki kasi nangangailangan sila. Parang yung aso, binibigyan mo lang ng kakaunting pagkain. Tapos, kinakain niya kasi nagugutom siya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tapos, pag binigyan mo lang ng konting part ng isang chicken, tuwang-tuwa siya and master ka niya. So, lumalabas talaga sa statistics natin, dun sa mga public trust na surveys, na nandun na tayo sa point na yun. Na nagkakaroon na tayo ng idealization sa mga politiko and tumataas yung perspective na tumataas yung favor natin sa mga politician at nagagamit rin yun para mag-continue yung corruption. So it's a cycle na kailangan natin pag-aralan through research.
Yung reaction ng mga tao sa nangyayari ngayon sa bansa natin. There are people who would choose to channel their frustrations through protests, like nung September 21 na rally. And then yung susunod nga, November 30, if I'm not
30,
mistaken, may kasunod, di ba?
Yeah.
Yung September 21 rally. But there are also others, as you've mentioned, nagkakaroon na ng mental apathy. They want to tune out. They want to protect their peace. How do you handle both? And is protecting your peace, kasi nga parang yung iba dumating na sa point na normal na to normal na yung corruption so ayoko na lang, 'di ba? I'm just gonna focus on my own life and my own problems, tune out na ako dito sa nangyayari. Is that okay?
Ang protest kasi is a way of checking yung mga nasa power. Kasi we're living in a democracy, so technically yung government natin democracy, in a check power can result to a lot of abuse. So according sa isang experiment ni Philip Zimbardo, yung unchecked power, pag hindi mo chine-check yung tao na may kapangyarihan, ang tendency niyan i-abuso talaga. Aabusuhin nila yan. So through protest at maraming ang ginagawang mobilization ng mga tao, nagkakaroon ng boses yung masa. Nagkakaroon tayo ng power. So on the other hand, change is not a sprint. It's a marathon. So habang binabago natin yung bansa, habang binibigyan natin ng boses yung masa, kailangan pa rin natin na alagaan yung sarili natin.
Right.
Emotionally, kasi nakakapagod siya.
How would you suggest to do that? Considering that I'm sure na may mga estudyante ka na have been a bit more vocal, a bit more active. In fact, a lot of people have said that yung mga rallies na to are more youth-led compared to previous ones. So how would you advise yung mga younger generations, especially, to deal with yung mga issue na ganito? Because apathy is a problem, helplessness is a problem as well.
So number one, acknowledging na napapagod ka. But resting doesn't mean na stopping. Ibig sabihin, hindi ibig sabihin nagpahinga ka, is tinitigil mo na yung advokasya mo. In-acknowledge mo lang na tao ka, napapagod at kasi hindi magi-start yung change pag pagod ka. Kasi pag hindi ka nagpahinga at na-burnout ka, this will result to hindi ka na ulit-uulit. Parang pag-gym yan eh. Pag napagod ka sa first session mo, ay mo na mag-gym bukas kasi nakakapagod. So nagiging negative reaction siya, nagiging negative reinforcement siya sa'yo. So technically, if you feel kung nag-start ka na magkaroon ng social mobilization, number one is acknowledge mo na napapagod ka and then rest. Pangalawa is find people na na tinutulungan ka na magkaroon ng social support. Na with the same values, parehas kayo ng advocacy, parehas kayo ng paniniwala. Not only you're talking about how to change yung bansa, yung advocacy natin, but also having fun or pagkakaroon ng leisure kasi tao rin din tayo. And pangatlo is pagkakaroon ng pag-i-strengthen ng emotional and spiritual elements ng buhay natin. So if you are a very religious person, if you're a spiritual person, pray. Sleep. 'Di ba? Physical, emotional, and if hindi ka naman ganun ka-religious, practice meditation para mas maging clear yung mind mo, para mas capable ka to discern kung ano ba yung ginagawa mo sa buhay. So may number one, acknowledgement. Number two, social support. Number three, strengthening yung emotional and spiritual part ng pagkatao natin.
Okay.
Paano yung Facebook, Ann? Kasi some people, or not just Facebook, but any social media. Kasi na-mention nga ni Prof that we go and check Facebook or whatever social media. As soon as we wake up, in fact, one eye open nga and then negative news. Kailangan ba ng break from the news?
Yeah. Yes, you should have a social media break. Ini-encourage ko yung mga, lalo na sa mga parents, sa mga estudyante ko, and also to my clients na please don't allow your child na magkaroon ng social media at a very young age kasi it really have an effect sa mental health ng isang tao. Lalong-lalo na ngayon na punong-puno ng negative news and negative contents yung internet. I think we should normalize having a social media break once in a while. And hindi ko sinasabi na kailangan kang pumili ng content kasi magkakaroon ka naman ng echo chamber dito, but rather rest sa paggamit ng social media.
Active rest talaga.
Active rest.
Pero do you also feel na parang double-edged sword to eh? Kasi meron din siyang benefit being on social media because finally, a lot of people are aware of what is really going on in the government, 'di ba? Kasi nasa news, nasa yung mga investigations, makikita mo nakapost yung mga documents, 'di ba? Yung mga statements, papers and everything. So they are aware of what is going on. And at the same time, pagka sobrang dami naman, na-overwhelm ka with all this information, 'di ba? So do you feel na parang yun nga, double-edged sword siya?
Yes, kasi truth can really be hurtful sometimes.
Yeah.
Masakit
But it's
siya.
something that we need to know.
Yeah, kailangan
Diba?
malaman yun at
Yeah.
masakit yun. It can really affect you psychologically. And yung nalaman mo na yung katotohanan, doon na nag-i-start yung change. And yung
That's true.
kung hindi mo nalaman yun, you still stay put, you choose things that you just want to believe, you just choose things na comforting sa'yo. So I'd rather have hurtful truth than comforting lies. And ang part ng change is malalaman mo dapat ang katotohanan para magkaroon ng pagbabago.
Yeah. But at the same time, the balance has to be there.
Yeah.
Kasi
Kailangan
you can-
pa rin i-take care of
you need a
yourself.
break also.
Yes.
Kasi you can know all the truth. Pero kung you
get
flood,
overwhelmed.
if you
Yes.
flood yourself with the negative
That's
news.
true.
Now, Prof, on the lighter note here, I need your personal advice here to
Personal
help our
advice.
to help not for me in particular, to help our colleagues kasi may mga kilala ko mga nagtatrabaho sa media na araw-araw nagtatrabaho Monday to Sunday.
Wow.
As in like nagde-news siya every day. and I can only imagine what it would take in terms of yung bakit natamaan ka ba? Sorry na every day na nagde-news. And for some people yung reality nila is to have this every single day.
Yes.
Na yung mga nakakagalit na news, na items, na stories. How would you advise anyone who has to go through that reality to do it?
So, to add dyan, maliban sa nakakapagod yung pagbabasa ng mga balitang and katulad sa mga journalists and sa press, yun pa yung yung freedom of press, yung katotohanan, which is very nakakadagdag din sa stress ng mga journalists at yung mga bagay na, alam mo yun, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin.
Yeah.
And alam naman natin, Philippines is one of the highest rate of slaying of journalists. Sobrang sad yun para sa lahat. So, number one is, para sa mga taong nagtatrabaho at nagkakaroon ng advocacy para sa katotohanan, is, kailangan natin dandaan ba't ba tayo nagsimula. In acknowledgement na ito yung meaning ng kung bakit ka nabubuhay, kung bakit ka nag-i-exist. And doon naman sa alternative, kung alam mo naman na sa sarili mo, this is my passion, this is my life, this is meaning, ito yung meaning ng buhay ko. Pangalawa is find some people na pwede sa'yo ang laki ng tulong ng social support eh.
Yeah.
Like, habang nagchichismisan lang kayo sa Starbucks, nagkakatarsis ka sa mga bagay na nararamdaman mo. So, nare-release yung negative emotions mo. And may kinoconsider din akong sa CBT, sa Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, may tinatawag silang scheduled breakdown, which is a very good concept.
Scheduled breakdown?
Yes.
Scheduled breakdown.
Wait
Schedule
lang,
pala
okay,
yun?
Wait lang.
Yes.
I'm so interested in this.
Okay.
Okay.
So yan, scheduled breakdown, it's a way of controlling your emotion in a very specific time of the day. Kasi technically, for example, ngayon, nagsushoot kayo, tapos gusto mag-breakdown, so umiiyak ka kung saan-saan. So, hindi siya nagiging productive sa buhay mo. So, through CBT, natututunan mo na yung client how to handle their emotions properly and not suppressing yung emotions na yun, but rather giving that specific time of the day na umiyak, i-acknowledge yung nararamdaman, maging present, and acknowledging your emotion can really help you to be more active and productive sa susunod na aral kasi wala ka nang dinadala eh. Kasi ang negative emotion, para siyang mabigat na bag na laging may bato, na every time na sinusuppress mo siya, lalo siyang nadadagdagan. And supposedly, ang schedule breakdown, tinatanggal mo yung bato every now and then para wala kang dala-dala. So for example, 2 a.m., play mo yung favorite music mo. For example, Bruno Mars or any sad music.
When I Was Your Man.
When I Was Your Man or kung ano mga kanta. Tapos, with candles, with your tissue paper, then start ka na mag-emote at umiyak. And from
Okay.
that, nakakatulong sa well-being natin.
So, scheduled
now
talaga. As in,
Scheduled
scheduled
talaga.
iyak.
Yeah, scheduled na iyak.
Wow. Okay.
Importante yun eh. You let out yung negative emotions.
Yes.
Diba? Release it. Hindi pwedeng you keep it all inside. And now that we're talking about that, no, that some, ano yan eh, parang form of healing, diba? Corruption kasi now that we're facing all these corruption cases here in the country, parang ano yan eh, parang sugat sa social psyche natin, di ba? So what would psychological rehabilitation or healing look like at the societal level? So, and ano yung roles na pwedeng i-play ng schools, media, civil society groups, religious groups para, to rebuild hope? Parang sense of healing, kumbaga. How do they help the people?
You cannot have a true peace kung hindi natin or hindi tayo nagtitiwala sa institution na nagbibigay ng laws, policy. And technically, a major factor sa buhay natin. Ang hirap mabuhay ng maraming bagay na hindi mo kayang gawin. Like for example, nagtatrabaho at hindi mo mabili yung mga bagay na gusto mo or yung even i-suffice yung mga pangangailangan mo. Or yung mga magsasaka natin na kinukuha yung lupa nila and they have a little money para support yung family nila at nagkakaroon ng cycle of poverty. I cannot really say na magkakaroon ng true peace hanggat hindi nagkakaroon ng transparency, hindi nagkakaroon ng pananagot sa mga nagnakaw, or ibalik yung tiwala ng government sa mga tao at bigyan ng power ulit ang mga tao when it comes to changing the Philippines in general.
Yeah.
So, in a healthy manner, kung mangyayari man yun sa school, in a healthy, peaceful way, number one is sa mga edukasyon, we should really encourage students to read more about history, to study society, aralin ng lipunan, create groups na kung saan sinusupport yung mga advokasya natin. And pangalawa, sa mga tao, sa mga kabataan ngayon, is punong-puno kasi sila ng galit eh. Puno po sila ng galit. And anger is a very powerful motivating factor para mag-start ng change. Kasi hindi ko pwedeng i-invalidate yung nararamdaman nila. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin huwag kayong magalit, etc.
Okay, Prof, we have to wrap things up, unfortunately, but we love the advice and the tips that you gave. Of
Yes.
course, we're
Thank
also
you very
praying for
much.
accountability and transparency. But we always end our segments with a nice last question para positive naman yung ending natin. At
Yes.
yung version mo, may special, may special background music. Kakataon ng When I Was Your Man's background. Abang tinatanong niya.
So, Prof, our show is called... Nadidistract ako.
Gawin mo na!
Our show is called Beautiful Day. What makes your day beautiful?
Number one, yung girlfriend ko and yung aso ko.
Aww.
Every time na nakikita ko sila, and nakakasama ko sila na araw-araw, and pagkagising ko pa lang nandyan na sila, it really makes my day beautiful.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much, Associate Professor Ronn Avila, Head of Psychology Department at Trinity University, Asia. Thank you, Prof. Ron.
Maraming salamat po.
Oh my goodness.
After the break,
Parang ikaw yung 7 days a week ang
No.
trabaho eh.
after the break, we're going to move on here because we'll talk to DOST Fieldbox geologist Charmaine Villamil about the upcoming 2025 tsunami run and how this simple act of running can help save lives. Plus, our horoscope of the day later on, Anne.
Yes, with Master Hans Kua. So stay with us. Beautiful day. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. A bit of breaking news here because a magnitude 6.2 earthquake was recorded offshore near General Luna, Surigao del Norte at around 7:03 a.m. this Friday, October 17, 2025. The quake had a depth of 10 kilometers according to Fieldbox. The instrumental intensity 4 was recorded in Cabadbaran City in Agusan del Norte and in the towns of Hinanungan in San Francisco, Hinundayan, and Silago in southern Leyte, as well as Surigao City and Surigao del Norte. Now, Fieldbox advises the public to remain alert as aftershocks are possible, but clarifies that no tsunami warning has been issued. As an archipelago along the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Philippines is highly vulnerable to earthquakes and tsunamis. Just staying on the news here, these hazards can strike without warning, making disaster preparedness and awareness vital in saving lives. In observance of World Tsunami Awareness Day on November 5, the DOST Fieldbox DOST Region 1 and the City Government of Vigan lead the 2025 Tsunami Run, a unique event promoting readiness, awareness, and community resilience. To tell us more about this initiative, we're joined by Ms. Charmaine Villamil, geologist and senior science research specialist from DOST Fieldbox and project leader for the World Tsunami Awareness Day celebration. Magandang umaga, Ms. Charmaine. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beautiful Day.
Magandang umaga, Paolo, at magandang umaga sa ating mga viewers and listeners.
All right, so a while ago, we actually had the privilege to say that wala pong tsunami warning in what happened in Surigao just a while ago. But for those wondering in general, ano nga ba ang tsunami and what normally triggers it? What normally triggers tsunami warning in particular? What are the criteria for that?
Okay. Una, let's try to describe first what a tsunami is, no? Tsunami is a Japanese term to refer to waves or series of waves. Ito ay ginagamit para tukuyin ang mga sunod-sunod na alon na karaniwang dulot ng isang malakas na lindol mula sa ilalim ng dagat. Minsan, ang mga tinatawag na submarine landslides o pagguho sa ilalim ng dagat, pati na rin ang pagputok ng mga bulkan na nasa ilalim ng dagat o kaya naman bulkan na napapalibutan ng tubig, sila rin ay nakakalikha ng tsunami. Ngayon, kapag ang lindol na to ay may lakas na magnitude 6.5 pataas at lalim na less than 70 kilometers, ang DOST PHIVOLCS ay naglalabas ng tinatawag na tsunami warning.
Let's talk about yung readiness po ng mga coastal communities po natin. Gaano ka-importante po that yung mga coastal communities natin ay ready for the eventual threat of tsunamis because they are easily the most vulnerable sa population po natin?
Okay. Ito ang isang mahalagang maintindihan natin, no? Yung threat or panganib ng tsunami ay totoo. The threat is real. It happened in the past, like what happened in Moro Gulf noong 1976, almost 50 years ago, no? Nangyari yan. It killed more than 6,000 people and it may happen again. So kailangan nating ma-realize na tayo na may mga coastal communities. In fact, all the coastal communities of the Philippines are very prone to tsunami, no? So, although rare, the impacts could be very devastating. That's why we really have to prepare for them.
Well, World Tsunami Awareness Day is there and celebrated every year. When we talk about yung significance po ito and yung observance niya, what message do you think it aims to promote considering that the risk is real, as you mentioned a while ago po, and we actually still remember the lives that were lost in the last big tsunami that hit the Philippines?
Okay, the World Tsunami Awareness Day is a UN declaration in December 2015. So Philippines has been organizing activities since 2016. No, the aim of the day or the commemoration is to promote a global culture of tsunami awareness, not just in the Philippines, but this is being observed in other countries.
Yung 2025 tsunami run that's happening in the north of the country, can you tell us a bit more about yung event na to and of course how it will educate people and what inspired yung concept na to?
For 2025, DOST PHIVOLCS collaborated with the City of Vigan and DOST Ilocos Region to conduct the tsunami run on October 25 at 5 o'clock in the morning in Vigan City. This would be the second of its kind. Last year, we had a tsunami run in Mati City, Davao Oriental. This time, it's in the north. We are doing this. It's sort of an advocacy run to raise the awareness and, of course, to promote preparedness thereafter of the coastal communities in Ilocos region who are at risk to the movement of the Manila Trench.
Well, na-mention niyo po yung Mati down south and of course now Vigan. Is there any reason in particular why Vigan it has been chosen for yung run na to?
Okay. Last year, December 2024, there were a series of earthquakes. We call it earthquake swarm offshore of Ilocos Sur. So we received, maybe you've seen posts, social media posts, news about people fearing about the threat of tsunami. So we wanted to allay the fear, no? Gawin natin bigyan sila ng tamang impormasyon para not necessarily matakot sila, but rather sila ay maghanda para sa threat ng tsunami na to. So in fact, before the run in October 25, we've done a series of information campaign in August and September of this year for the 58 coastal cities and municipalities of the entire Region 1. And aside from this, this Monday, October 14, Tuesday, October 14, we conducted an orientation for the barangays, barangay officials, community volunteers in the 18 coastal cities and municipalities of Ilocos Sur. So, bukod sa highlight ng run on October 25, meron na tayong ginawang series of information campaign to teach the people that what a tsunami is and what are the hazards and how to prepare for them. So this is just a highlight, no? And although we've partnered with Vegan, this run is open to everyone.
Yes. Ma'am Charmaine, if I'm not mistaken, because right now I'm looking at all the posters and I'm looking at all of the material, 5 kilometers po yung ina-advertise po ninyo. And normally, yung mga fun run or yung mga more serious runs, may mga 10, 21, so on and so forth. But then, bakit importante yung 5K na to? Because if I'm not mistaken, very intentional po yung design na to.
Okay. Kumbaga, ano lang siya, we want to make it just a fun run, a fun way of learning and teaching. Kasi pag 10K yan, parang baka mapagod lang sila and hindi nila ma-absorb yung real essence ng ginagawa natin na tsunami advocacy run. So, yun. And the route is mainly showing them, no, the safe areas, which areas have to be avoided when there's a threat of tsunami, when the tsunami warning is raised by PHIVOLCS. So saan sila palayo dapat sa tabing dagat, going inland, no? There should be perpendicular roads away from the shoreline towards high grounds or towards part of the area where it is already safe from tsunami waves.
Does actually moving 5 kilometers inland, is that enough to avoid yung tsunami po?
Yeah, we made sure that the route from the finish line up to from the starting line to the finish line, ang dadaanan nila ay safe. No? Hindi natin nilagay yung route doon sa hazard-prone area kasi baka ma-familiarize sila dun sa mali. So nilagay natin siya dun sa tamang daan.
So to stay safe, kailangan tumakbo sa route. And at least yan yung maging information nila. All right, so when we talk about the partnerships that you have, you mentioned po working with local government or local government units, and I'm sure organizations like DOST Region 1 and has been finding ways to partner as well. Gaano ka-importante yung cooperation between the LGU and DOST in particular to make sure na science-based, decision-based, and of course, science-based decisions are being made, and of course, that lahat ng mga measures that are being created to address things like tsunamis are actually scientifically sound.
Collaboration is very important for us in the national government. No? Ang unang dahilan dyan is to augment the funding that we have. So the local government, the regional offices can help us in the funding of activities like this, activities that go down to the grassroots, to the community level. Aside from that, the organization and coordination at the local level and regional levels are facilitated by these partners. So, mas maayos, mas magiging effective yung campaign natin by partnering with these offices. And lastly, sustainability. No? We encourage them to also continue doing projects and activities and ensuring them that DOST PHIVOLCS will continuously provide technical assistance to them. And Paolo, I have to mention, aside from DOST Region 1 and Vegan City, katulong din natin dito ang Provincial Government of Ilocos Sur, ang PIA, the Regional Office of PIA. They have invited media and information officers to attend our press conference to help spread the awareness through our media. And lastly, the Office of Civil Defense. Kasama din natin sila.
Well, it takes a village po to try and make all of this work, and we really appreciate all the effort that you're making, and hopefully more and more people will learn about being prepared for tsunamis. So before we let you go, Ms. Charmaine, is there any way those who are in coastal communities can try and reach out to either the LGUs or the DOST in particular to be more aware of yung mga kailangan gawin in case a tsunami warning is raised?
All right. DOST PHIVOLCS has a lot of activities other than this event. So we have program campaigns, program initiatives for the local government, for international collaborations, for teachers and school learning facilitators, for the media. And we encourage the public to subscribe, to follow our official social media channels and our website, to be able to get updates on what is happening, not just for tsunami, but also for earthquakes and volcano-related activities. And they can also avail lecture packages from the USC PVOX. They can invite PVOX to set up exhibit in their schools, in their communities, and we have information materials readily available from our website. Our website is so abundant with information materials. We also give away flyers, posters that the communities can read up and can post in their barangay halls and other places in the communities.
Ms. Charmaine, we really appreciate all of that, and hopefully your event's a success, and hopefully we can run it also soon. My partner's a very good runner, and she wants to do that very soon as well.
Why not join in vegan?
I think it's too soon on 25th, but I don't think I'll be able to make it there. Pero I love vegan, and hopefully I can come back again soon. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much, Ms. Charmaine.
Thank you too.
Well, that's it for Weather HQ at the moment. You see how I ran away from that run? And back to you.
Thank you so much, Pao. Now it's time for us to find out what the stars have in store for us today. Let's hear it from our resident energizer and feng shui master, Hans Kua, in our horoscope of the day. Take it away, Master Hans.
Good morning! Beautiful day with me, Bilyonaryo Master Hans Kua. Ito po ang horoscope ngayong lovely Friday, October 17. Para sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Rat, may papalapit na bayarin. I-prioritize kasi ang essential kesa sa mga gusto lang. Green at 1. Kaya ako sama na may tampo si partner, kailangan lang ng konting pansin at pasensya. White at 7. Kay Tiger naman, kumonsulta kung may nararamdaman na paulit-ulit na pagsakit sa mga sikmura mo. Blue at 9. Kay Rabbit naman tayo, isang harana ng lambing ang makakapawi sa away nyo. Huwag nang palalain ito. Pink at 2. Kay Dragon naman hindi pa panahon para gumastos sa mga hindi kailangan. Gray at 8. Kay Snake naman tayo, kapag nilinaw ang expectation, mas tataas ang intimacy. Yellow at 6. Ito naman, kay of the Horsey, may paparating na bagong assignment. Makuha, mukhang ikaw na ang napupusuan ng management. Orange at 5. Kay Ship naman, magandang timing para magbenta ng mga pre-love items, pero siguraduhin linisin muna ang energy ng bawat isa. Violet at 3. Kay Monkey naman, baka mahulog ka sa kaibigan, iwasan ang confusion kung hindi ka pa sigurado. Red at 6. Kay Rooster naman, alagaan ang balat skin, iwasan ang sobrang matatapang na sabon at chemicals. Gold at 9. Kay Dog naman, tahimik ang araw pero may sweetness sa simpleng gesture. Brown at 2. Kay Year of the Pig naman, may meeting o presentation ka. Gamitin ang charm at confidence. Silver at 4. Paalala lang ito po'y patnubay lamang. Ang tunay na swerte ay nagsisimula sa pagiging totoo. Abangan araw-araw ang horoscope of the day. Dito lang po sa Beautiful Day with me, Master Hans Kua.
Thank you as always, Master Hans Kua.
Thanks so much, Master Hans. And we're going to move on here because towards Ginhawa. That's the theme of the Design Center of the Philippines in this year's Design Week. Now, we talk with Festival Director Raymond Vincent Cutillar in The Hangout about their mission to use design to better the lives of Filipinos. Hi, Raymond. Thank you so much for joining us and beautiful day.
Hi, good morning as well, Pao and Anne. Good morning.
Hi.
Well, Raymond, the Design Week started on October 11th and ends tomorrow on the 18th. And right now, I know that there's still a lot to do, even though there's still a day there. But how would you say has the event gone so far?
Well, it's been great. We've had 120 plus, 144 partner organizations joining us all across the Philippines, and 135 events as well happening all across the Philippines. And we were joined by 43 municipalities and cities and 17 regions for this year's design. It's been the biggest we've done ever since. Yeah.
So it's not happening just in Manila, but across many cities as well, right, Raymond?
That's correct. That's correct.
What are the highlights so far? And I believe you also had talks and activities. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we opened the Design Week Philippines at the Ayala Triangle, at the Makati Circuit, Ayala. With career events all throughout that day. So we were driven towards talks about how we can price our works, or how designers can actually leverage on their IP to do something about it towards Ginhawa, because Ginhawa is actually something that we should aspire for towards a good life, you know? So with that as well, we've had events from Baguio. For example, in Baguio, they did a sketching walk as well there. They also did a few talks that featured designs that actually nurture well-being for people and the planet. Down in Dumaguete as well, there's been Negros Design Week also is currently happening, and they've been doing talks and activities that wants to root the designers and creatives in what's uniquely Filipino, what's uniquely Negrense, and all across in Mindanao, from Iligan to Tawi-Tawi, we've had events that was really connecting communities and creatives all across all across the areas as well.
You know, it's great that you started off, at least one of your first events was to actually teach creatives how to price their work, because I have a feeling they undervalue themselves also from time to time. And I like your smile there, just tells me everything. But when we look at the term towards Ginhawa and the type of connection that we are trying to encourage all the designers to have, because I mean, son, you can feel so disconnected from the industry. Just how important is yung theme na to and the direction you want to try and help cultivate these designers to have?
Yeah. Thanks, Pao, for that question. So our theme this year is towards Ginhawa, which is really a call for us to foster this holistic well-being and to collectively flourish through design. So Ginhawa is actually an indigenous psychology concept of how our loob and our kapwa are actually intertwined to each other, which is where kapwa is actually the core of Filipino indigenous psychology, and how our ease, lightness, and subjective aspirations are actually rooted to our kapwa, which is our community and our environment.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on what you mentioned, Pao, a while ago about pricing and creatives. Kasi a lot of creatives struggle with being paid fairly talaga, no, or even protecting their ideas. And I believe one of the talks that you've had is yung extra price, please, and one also on IP. How does Design Week help creatives in that regard?
So our creatives, so these questions are actually taboo, no? But they're very much important, and they're very much important in the equation. A lot of our creatives are actually scared to actually ask the question of how do we ask for the right price for our work. So we work with a lot of partners for these events and talks, and they're very much rooted to what's currently happening around us. So we hope that these talks and these workshops and all of these hope to drive towards our creative communities to actually price their works properly and protect their IP. So we also work with iProfil for this talk as well, where they provided a speaker on how IP can be leveraged towards for creatives to actually leverage their IP towards creating more to earn more from their IP. Yeah.
What I find really interesting is that we are in an age right now, and we're talking about design, wherein people think that AI could just be used to create whatever in terms of being creative. It could be AI graphic art, it could be AI voiceovers, it could be AI actors, even in the United States. When we take a look at yung importance of human agency and how that relates to actual Philippine creativity, economy, at yung identity natin as a people, just how do you put all those two together? You mentioned taboo yung price. Mas taboo ata yung AI at this point when it comes to yung creativity.
Yeah. That's correct, Pao. So a lot of people, there's been talk about AI a lot in the past few months and years on AI. So what I think is that AI is merely a tool. It still needs that human element, the essence of us Filipino creatives to actually leverage AI. So, for example, our first tool for everyone was a pen, I believe, or crayon. We hope that maybe in the future, one of our first tools would be technology and AI, because there's no stopping innovation. But it's merely what we're saying is that it's merely for us to actually put ourselves, our Filipino-ness, our humanness into what we do in our designs.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, my friend, we have to wrap things up in just a bit.
Yes.
But before we do, we want to ask you about the future plans of the Design Center of the Philippines, for DTI, because this was a great nationwide initiative, and I'm sure it has a lot of people talking. We're not even done yet. But what is next? And of course, what can we look forward to?
Yeah, so tomorrow will be the culminating event of Design Week Philippines, and we'll be culminating it at the Ayala Triangle Gardens. We're inviting everyone to be there. We have talks, workshops, we have talks geared towards Ginhawa and how we can leverage creativity and design to move forward this agenda of towards Ginhawa. We have workshops as well, and we have tours as well that's happening, and we have a fair as well, which we call Design Sari Sari. We're joined by 47 creative merchants from all across the Philippines, to kind of to show Filipino creativity and to just showcase Filipino craft and community building. And what's really more important beyond this showcase and the merchants that we have, and even the talks and the workshops, is that as a community, as creatives, we can come together and we can really move towards Ginhawa together.
Raymond, before we let you go, we always ask this final question to all our guests. Our show is called Beautiful Day. What makes your day beautiful?
What makes my day beautiful is that when creatives and our community come together, there's just magic. There's just magic about it. Yeah.
I love it. Very on topic yung what makes your day beautiful, Raymond. We really appreciate you. He is Design Week Festival Director Raymond Vincent Cotillar. Again, it ends tomorrow at the Ayala Triangle, and we encourage everyone to go out there as well. Raymond, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we got to finish our countdown as well, and we have a nice countdown here because we are now going from 70 to 69. 69 beautiful days before Christmas. Huwag ka natawa. That's a wrap on our show this Friday, October 17. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Remember, keep it cool, take it easy.
And I'm Ann, Asis-Carilo. Quick shout out to my beauty sponsors, Lift Clinic and Pino Beauty Lounge. And thank you, Our Home, for our fantastic set. Have a great day and a great weekend ahead. And always remember to choose joy and spread love and kindness wherever you guys go. See you again next week from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. only here on
Beautiful Day.